So this is a tour of the Nissan Sunderland factory, where we were invited to see the production launch of the new Nissan Qashqai. Some refer to this as the facelift version. So we began with a welcome introduction, where we watched a small short video welcoming us to the Nissan Sunderland plant. After the video, we had a brief kind of safety instruction and the do's and don'ts, etc., and received an earpiece so that we could hear everything. Heading on through to the recruitment centre, where we had a hands-on experience of doing exactly what new Nissan employees would do to see if they're up to the task of building a Nissan car. So we were given a demonstration of what to do and how to do it, including building kind of modules and parts for a Nissan Qashqai. The group of around 10 of us all got to have a go at this and to see how many we could do in around about 16 minutes. We then made our way to the battery assembly, where we took a look at the Qashqai e-Power battery, along with the new Nissan Duke hybrid battery. Watching a short presentation about how the batteries are made and what they actually do in the factory, and then taking an actual look inside the factory where the batteries were currently being manufactured. Batteries and the parts are delivered by these AVGs or AGVs, automatic goods vehicles anyway. And then we got to have a much closer look at a e-Power battery, how they were manufactured and how they all go together. And again, we also got a hands-on go at this, following the screen instructions. Once completed that, it was time to see how an actual car was made. So we went along to the press shop, seeing how a sheet of metal was turned into car parts. So each station that we went to along the process, there was a presentation with lots of facts and figures on how the process starts and finishes. And along with that was why certain things were used and why there were certain ways of being done. Here is the rather large press machine. So as you can see, it's all done by kind of internal robots who were pressing these metal sheets into certain parts of the car. It's worth noting that the offcuts, the parts that weren't used, that were cut out, fall into kind of bins, and these are all sent off for recycling. As you can see, it's the offcuts shooting down. So everything is that isn't used is recycled. And then each section is taken and moved along by a robot onto a conveyor belt and then processed through the factory. this is a complete car shell of those pressed parts. Our next stage was to the body shop. Again, we had a presentation with lots of bits of information telling us how it's done. And then into the main kind of body shop area, where again the robots were put in these cars together from the parts that were made over in the press shop. Spot welding all the different bits together before again processing along the line. So you can see these robots spot welding everything together, and then once they've completed their certain part, that part will then move down the line to the next section where more parts will be added. Here you can see the sides of the car being attached to the frame that the other previous robots had all put together. And then once completed, this will then be passed down to the next section along a conveyor belt. This completed shell will then go on to paint, and that's where we headed to next. So just before the cars go into the paint area, they're fully inspected and checked to make sure that there's no defects. As you can see, they're lifted up and taken across to the next stage. So the next stage is the paint shop, and before entering the paint area we went into those kind of booths to ensure that they didn't have any dust on us, etc. So again, brief presentation. That was showing us all the different new colours, and here you can see the 7 stage of paint. So here you can see that once again it's robots that are painting the car, even opening the doors to ensure that all areas are covered that needs to be covered. So after this stage, it was the contrast masking. So if you have kind of like a two-tone car, it will go into this next stage where it's manually masked and then ready for its top coating. So then it was off to trim and chassis. So all the car kind of like internals. Once again, a brief presentation. For this part we were on golf buggies, being given a tour around the trim and chassis part of the manufacturing process. This is where all the kind of the dashboard will be installed, all the carpets, seats, etc. Including the engine. And what you'll see is the car's shell is raised up in the air, and then the bottom of the car is raised into position. As you see, that the wheel hubs, etc., go into place, and then the shell is bolted to the bottom section of the car. And then the car will move along this process, adding more, having more parts to it added. You can just see it being raised into place there. And then as we went through the factory, even more parts to the car are added, and the whole process is checked as the car goes through. So you'll notice this is a mixture of Nissan Dukes and Nissan Qashqais. These are done in a particular order depending on when the customer ordered, and each card is individual to the customer's order. So that you'll see the cars are being raised once again, depending on what's being done to the car, so that it's a suitable height for being worked on. And one of the last things to go on to the car is the actual wheels. Before the doors are put back on the car, which is one of the final processes. It's worth noting that this tour lasted approximately 7 hours, and I've tried to condense the video down to around about 17 minutes. But yeah, we were in the factory for 7 hours, seeing absolutely everything. So this is a section where the doors will be put back onto the car. and once they get to this point, it's a finished product. So before seeing the final version of the car and what was completed, we had a brief kind of look at the future. Before seeing the cars that we'd witnessed being manufactured come off the final run as a completed model, to which these cars then went off to be tested to ensure that everything was as it should be, and then they're taken out onto a test track before being shipped to the customer. Got to say that the white with the black roof looks absolutely stunning. This is a different white than the current model. There's a new black and a new kind of ocean green. If you've made this far, thank you for watching.